So this is a quick overview of my off-the-grid rain catchment setup. Outside, this pipe that goes outside is connected to almost 50 feet of gutter that I built out of ABS pipe, 3-inch. This is the first flush system. So as the water comes in from outside, it goes down here. This is the first flush segment. In the bottom of this, there's a filter, and you can notice a drain there. There's a tiny gasket that you can change the sizes. They give you about 8 different hole sizes, and what those are, they allow you to drain out different amounts of water over time, which is kind of important. But the main point is there's a little ball in there, and as water pours in here, the ball begins to float to the surface, up and up and up, and once it hits the bottom of this white thing, it acts like a bridge, and the rest of the water from the roof now just flows straight down here through my new DIY filter system. It's a muslin bag, it's called. It's all nylon. It's for filtering out like milk and other food products and stuff like that. But this will catch any other particles that the first flush system has missed in that bag. And now it's in a fern coat, so it's removable, so I can clean it, which is important. And the water will continue through that filter down, 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 all the way down, and it will go down there and start filling this tank up. Now it's important, if you're doing this, guys, that you have a little hole here for oxygen to get out, because I had this tank sealed one time and I tried filling it with city pressure on a garden hose. It stopped filling. Because, let's just use this as an example, water levels here, the rest is really compressed air, because as you fill a container that's sealed up with water, the air has no place to go because it can't go through the water and it can't leave the container, so it kind of stops and pushes back down against your water feed. So that's why you got to let the air pressure out, so you can continue to fill this. Now I'm going to have a lot of people say, oh, you ruined your IBC tote. No, this could be easily sealed again if I ever needed to. Also, I punched a little, down here somewhere, I poked a bunch of little pinholes. They can also be easily sealed with some epoxy or whatever. Not a big deal. So, I'm going to let all my joints dry. Let that glue cure nicely before I do anything with that. So next rainfall, guys, this thing will fill up nicely and I won't have issues. I do have to remove the gasket that's in there, however, and change it back to the one I had originally. That way this thing can fill up by itself and I won't have issues. That's kind of the point. So anyways, just wanted to show you that. Now, how do I get the water out of here to where it's usable? Well, I then open this valve, that's a shutoff valve, and I turn this pump on when it's working. I got to find out what's wrong with it. And obviously I have to open that valve as well. I have to now open that valve permanently, or I won't catch any rainwater. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that gasket in there for today, so I can let everything cure and dry, and then I will screw around opening stuff and not have to worry about anything. But I do have to disconnect the pump and see what's going on with it, because it was not performing whatsoever. So there you go, guys. That's my first flush setup and rain harvesting system. Hopefully now leak-proof rain harvesting system. Alrighty, we'll see you on the next one. Hey guys, Rob from the Off-Grid Tiny House. Whew, she's getting warm out there. It says 30 degrees Celsius in direct sunlight out there, but I'm reading 89.4 Fahrenheit outside, and it's actually 79.1 Fahrenheit inside. Not too shabby. Now, I just got back from the hardware store because I'm ripping out that pump there. You guys saw there's definitely something wrong with it. So it's coming out. And actually, I was lucky enough to have another 12 volt pump that I'm going to install. But, of course, it has different connections. So, I had to go to the hardware store and buy some shark bite fittings. Got a couple of these and a reducer coupling. I'll be using those. So we'll head back and I'm going to unhook the old one and put the new one in. There we go. Alrighty. So I got to get this fitting off of here, and we may get some water out of this from earlier. Am I seeing any water? I feel water. Alright. I don't know why my pump failed, but it did. I was tightening for a second. Okay. So, that's one end. Do the other end. And yeah, we'll disconnect all that other crap after the fact. Wiring, whatever. This is this pump that is pretty old actually. I got this from, basically it's like a Harbor Freight knockoff store called Princess Auto. And I wasn't too impressed with this pump when I bought it. So it really doesn't shock me that it failed this quickly. Definitely had water in it. Why is it seized is something else entirely. Right? But that's the way things go sometimes. So we'll let that water drain out, and then we're going to figure out our next step here in order to, I can probably remove this fitting now. So I'm going to do that. Go ahead and do that. I got to get the little shark bite tool to remove this section. Oh. Oh. Man, that's on there. There we go. That part's disconnected. So, the only problem I see is I'm going to need a piece of PEX to go in between here and the new pump. So I probably have to end up cutting off a piece of this, which is doable, I guess. Not too many options. So we'll put this new piece on. There we go. And this one will not work on that because that's 1/2 inch. But I do have a 1/2 inch one, I think, somewhere. Right here. So I can pull this one off. Oh. Oh my God. That's tough. Oh. Wow. Got it. So, what I want to do is probably get rid of that pump out of the way. Get rid of these rags because I think we're done draining. As far as I can tell, anyway. Okay, good. Now, I need to this friggin' wire is pretty short, so I'm gonna have to wire in a long piece of wire for both of these, but that's not neither here or there. That's later on. Now, direction. Does this thing have a direction? Because I gotta be careful. I don't want to wire this thing in backwards or something. Okay, yeah, here we go. So we'll have to go this direction. There's little arrows on it, which is very helpful, which is good. So what I need to do, guys, is I need to dope this these threads up similar to this. Well, it's actually the same dope as what I used on the that IBC tote thread sealer. So we'll use that, and then we'll crank those fittings on. There we go. Oh, shiza. We're getting leakage here. Rag again. Okay. So let me, here, we'll do it simple, guys. I'll do the pump over here while the rest of that water drains out. So we got the pump. I gotta put that sealant on both ends, and then we'll put these fittings on. Crank them on. Then this pump should be good to go. Now, here's the trick. I don't know if this pump works or not yet. So, I'm praying it does, because I'm assembling it right now. And, I gotta basically assemble it before I can know if it works or not. Which is kind of dumb. But, that's the way things are. The hardest part of this whole thing is I gotta find some wire that will hook up to the off-grid solar setup here that's long enough and heavy gauge enough for these wires. I gotta look around because that's gonna be tricky. I gotta admit, super tricky. But we're gonna crank this on nice and tight, and that way no leaks. Do everything once type of thing. Well, we tried to do the rain harvesting once, but then again, it was my very first attempt at it ever. But everything seems to work okay, as far as I can tell. Once we get a first rainfall, though, that'll be the big test. I pray that I don't get flooded again. Oh, man, that's nasty. Alright, I think that's good for that end. Now I gotta do the other end of this motor. And, yeah, so I'll get back to you once that's done.